So my friends, families, and colleagues, I was asked to shed light on lower back pain. Now, there is plenty of it, of the information on internet about it, which basically is correct. The only thing which is not addressed is how this can be prevented, or if we already have back pain, how we can get out of it. Other than surgeries and medication, which doctors always recommend. Now, why does lower back pain occur? Pain in general, we know it's related to pressure, or pressure on nerves, sensory nerves, and back in general, muscles are loaded with sensory nerves. As we know, joint pain, and back is made of multiple joints, usually occurs in elderly people and also chronically ill people. But we also notice it now in young generation, especially the sedentary generation, which, I sit behind a computer basically all day long. And I make it my business to go at least for a walk or a few minutes in the gym, just to work the joints up a little bit and muscles. What happened is there is a multiple things in play here. One is just joint problem. So as we know, when we have joints, we have two bones being put in a place together, and on the surface where they touch, there is a cartilage, because cartilage is extremely smooth, so it minimizes friction. And then on top of this cartilage, when it's properly hydrated, it's pretty rigid, and whenever you exert pressure on it, a drop of water is being squeezed out of cartilage, and it serves as a lubricant. So I mentioned before that if you have a glass which is very smooth, and you put another glass on top of it which is also smooth, if you push the upper glass, it will glide on top of the lower glass, because there are two smooth surfaces. So there is a very little friction there, but still it is going to make sound. Well, sound is sign of a friction. And then if you keep moving it rapidly back and forth, because of the friction, it is going to start to overheat, and it is going to be wearing off. Now, same thing happens with the joint. You have two bones touching each other over a cartilage, and now as long as you have a drop of water in between, if you take a glass, the top glass off, and you put one drop of water, one drop is enough, because it's very smooth surface, so it has nowhere to go, the water, but spread around. And then if you move the glass, you just touch it and it glides on its own. And you can move it the whole day long and it's not going to heat up, because there is no friction, or the friction is really minimal. Same is with the joints. As you put pressure on a joint, the cartilage squirts a drop of water, and now it's lubricated. And you can jog on concrete, you can a whole day long, you can make movements, extreme movements, whatever you want. Well, the joint is not going to overheat because it's well lubricated, and there is no injury to a joint. What keeps the joint together are muscles. Okay, because the bones are not fused together. They just lay one on top of each other, and they are held in place by muscles. The end of muscles have tendons which anchor themselves in the upper and lower bone, and now muscle has a tension, and this tension keeps the joint in position. And every joint has particular movement. Okay, it's not supposed to move freely. It is being kept under pressure, and it has this movement. Of course, jaw has gliding movement, so it has a multi-directional movement, but spine, every vertebra can also move. Now, in a spine, what do you have between the bones? You have discs made out of cartilage. So every vertebra has a cartilage, but then you have a disc of a cartilage, and then another vertebra with its own cartilage on it. These discs serve as the shock absorbers. Okay, so it's not a rigid connection, there is a little give. And also, they create spacing between the vertebra because you have the nerves coming out, and the cartilage, or the disc of cartilage, creates a little space so these nerves can freely flow, there's no pressure on them. And again, you have a bunch of muscles in the back connecting these together to keep the whole spine in a place. Now, these muscles can become inflamed. Overuse of a muscle. Well, maybe overuse is a wrong term, but body is going to prepare itself for daily chore, usually at night during the regenerative process and maintenance process. The energy is going to be stored in a muscle, preparing it for the day that comes. Body usually prepares a proper level of ketones because more or less we do same chores daily, and body is very efficient. So it prepares itself for exactly more or less that same amount of work. Now, if you are sitting down most of the time, while working behind a computer, muscles do not have much work to do. So the amount of energy they store in a muscle for the day is not very strong. But if you then get up and you do additional work, let's say you decide to have a day of exploring and going to forest and do some work and walking, well, now we are using muscles more. And they have not been preparing themselves energetically for this kind of work because that's what you usually don't do. Well, you catch the muscle of God. Now it has to provide a little bit more energy, and it is going, since it's not prepared, well, it is going to occasionally even go into stress situations, so it will start using glycogen, and you may start producing acids, and you inflame the muscle because it's not used to this much work. It's not prepared for it. And we call it muscle fever, inflamed muscles that could cause pretty strong pain because inflammation sets in. And it will happen on the muscles that you are using that day, not necessarily lower back muscle. It's depending on the work. Yeah, if your wife came with a lot of shopping and you come home and now you have to lift up the packages that you're not used to, it's going to get you in lower back because this is exactly the muscles that you are going to be using. Another chronic part of this is cellular dehydration, because when your blood is toxic, the cells, or more toxic is the blood, the less cells will hydrate and cleanse. And since we become more and more toxic as we get older, because it's cumulative stuff, because we don't cleanse, because of the scientific truths that we are following, we are becoming more and more dehydrated on cellular level. When cartilage dehydrates, well, there is no lubrication first. That's the first sign. So if there is no lubrication and you all of a sudden have to do more movement, well, the joint is going to overheat. This is not so much case with the back, because you're not going to be moving that much back and forth, side and side, rolling, that you will overheat the joint. This is more where you have problem with the hips and with the knees. But what holds the muscles to, or what holds the joints together are the muscles. If you dehydrate the muscles, you start losing the tension. So, for example, the first sign of this dehydrated muscles will be when you move your head around and you hear cracking noise in your neck. Well, the muscles are dehydrated. What is happening? You are not being kept pressurized in the same place and making movement, but because muscles, when they're dehydrated, they lose tension. So the whole joint becomes a little bit flexible, but not as firmly positioned. So when you move your head, it starts sliding around the cartilage disc. Okay. Also, when the cartilage at the same time becomes dehydrated, because it's all or nothing. If you start dehydrating on cellular level, every cell in the body is starting to get affected. Some areas faster, some slower, but basically in time, everything. So when your disc of cartilage becomes dehydrated, it becomes spongier, softer. And from the pressure of the weight, it is going to diminish. So our height goes, we lose on height, we become a little shorter. Remember, you have 33 vertebrae. You have these discs in between. Every disc loses a little bit, but you lose inch or more. And now what happens is they are spongier. When you make pressure on one side, you bend forward, for example, which mostly we do. We seldom bend backwards. In that point where there's more pressure, since the disc is softer, it's going to start bulging on the back a little bit. We call it herniated disc. And overall, the spacing between vertebrae gets smaller, and you may have irritation on the nerves that come out. You put a little pressure on it. Now, when that happens, you usually start having feeling of numbness or feeling of like ants crawling on your skin, loss of sensitivity of the skin, variety of symptoms may occur. Now, since when we're talking about lower back, this is mostly going to affect then your legs. Okay, sciatica, when sciatic nerve gets pinched, and then one leg or both legs, you can experience excruciating pain. So these are all things related to dehydrated muscle. And on a cellular level, not only muscle, but also then you have dehydrated tendons and you have dehydrated disc, cartilage. And all this starts creating irritation. Bone can even start touching bone, and irritation can start growing protrusions of the bone. Doctors always, oh, this has to be operated. No, it doesn't have to be operated. It can be healed. But again, doctors don't understand that the body can heal itself, that it's programmed to do so. We always think, oh, we need to cut and paste and we need to poison, medicate. This is not true. So, these are the main causes of lower back pain. But there is another cause. The pain could be caused because of the pressure, which we were now talking about, but also lack of oxygenation is going to cause pain. We have it during stress situation. So when you're exposed to stress, you may experience pain. Of course, combining things, having already dehydrated cells, this is going to amplify the issue. Or stress may much faster produce pain than it would if you would not be dehydrated. Recently, I have been exposed to this terrible pain on my lower back, and I have no cartilage issue. I have not severe one, because again, I was several years on chocolate, and this dehydrated me terribly on the cellular level. But now I'm hydrating, so it's not severe dehydration, but still. But my sedentary stuff and the backrest being pushing on the same area, and I was sitting a little longer, having a discussion, and when I wanted to get up, I could not move, because again, you push, you make pressure on blood vessels, the flow of lymph and blood is not the same, it's being restricted a little bit and compiled together with increased toxicity because detox was going on. The movement of electrical current, which is what we call energy, has been impeded. And when energy doesn't move well through place, this also causes pain. And obviously my lower back muscles got affected. And the pain was, I could hardly breathe. I could not make any movement. I could not move forward. I could not get up. So this also causes terrible pain. As we get older, all these things pile up together, and it's very easy for older individual to suffer from lower back pain. We have to understand that we are exposed to a lot of stress, and we have also strong emotions. We react to things, to our experiences, very emotionally. And liver is emotional organ. And so our kidneys, so is pancreas, all this is sitting, well, lying right down below the lower half of your back. And when these toxins are flowing, well, emotions are being cleansed through kidneys and through blood and kidneys, but liver is affected by it very much. And liver contributes to cleansing of the emotions through production of acids and then elimination of acids. And all this is going to be affecting the lower part of the body. I have emotional cleanse, because whenever I deal with clients, with friends, we exchange emotional energy. And my clients receive my vibration, I receive their vibration. And if I'm not careful, if I don't spend time all for myself and cleanse this, it also accumulates. And then at any moment, my robot can be triggered into detox of this particular frequency. And when we start releasing toxins from, it could be from aura, and then within our body as well. But emotions are going to be drawn towards liver. So again, lower part of the body, liver, kidneys. And they go into the blood, but then the capacity of detox is limited. And body can release huge amount of toxins in one moment. And we can only cleanse fractionally. So all this stagnation, buildup of toxic energy serves as a barrier for flow of energy. And when energy cannot flow, there's no also oxygenation. And remember, oxygen, carbon dioxide, all those are just frequencies. And they are part of the energetic movement. And if it cannot go through, it cannot do its job. End result is going to be pain. So when we are addressing back pain, we have to have all of this in consideration. But when we are talking about elderly, especially, let's say, construction workers or people that work physically, lower back is going to be pretty much in action because you bend down, you stand up, you reach for things, you move left and right. So the lower back is going to always be, all the muscles are going to be working, and the more they work and blood is toxic, the more they become toxic. And the faster they start exhibiting problems, mostly going into inflammation, but also water retention. So they water retention also prevents flow of energy, because our cells do not get only oxygenated through red blood cells. Brain uses huge amount of energy, and very little of blood flows through it because brain is white. It's lymphatic. So lymph is what brings oxygen. Well, same is in superficial tissues in the skin, and everywhere capillary system is strong, it's lymphatic. And when lymph gets stuck because it's highly toxic, well, there is no movement, there is no oxygenation. And this creates pain. So, talking about back pain, this is general, and the best thing is to really be guided. Now, doctors cannot help you much because all how they are trained to act is to suppress the symptom. Your problem is pain. Okay, suppress it. Analgesics, anti-inflammatories. Okay, now, if that doesn't work well, or pain is requiring stronger and stronger medication, well, then they take x-rays and they see, oh, herniated discs. Oh, we have to fuse the vertebra together. You don't. You know, fusing is a stupid thing to do. Everybody that has back pain surgery or back surgery to alleviate pain ends up with more pain and additional surgery just to fix what was screwed up in the first surgery. Okay, this is a village life. Somebody is delivering something or garbage going on. So, okay, so if you suffer from back pain, it is good to know these things. Going to doctor will not help you much because you end up with more problems than you had before you went there. You may get temporary relief, but ultimately it will lead you to surgery. And you know, what butcher touches, body cannot resolve later on. My wife had a knee surgery when she was 28 years old, or some age like this, very young. They wanted to do both knees because they had the same problem. And it was just dehydration. So, since it was very painful to her, she didn't want to do the other knee. And when she met me and she started doing cellular protocol, well, pain disappeared from her knees, and the one that was not operated perfectly healed. Everything is fine. There's no sound. It's perfect. The one that was surgically touched has no pain, but it has clicking sounds. Again, what surgeon screws up, a body cannot fix. So forget about surgeries. Now, where do we go from here? The best thing is always hydrate. Do the cellular protocol and hydrate. This will cleanse you. It is going to bring back tension to your muscles. It is going to hydrate your cartilage, so you will gain the lost weight, the lost height, because the discs are going to again puff up. Everything is rebuildable. The body is made to heal itself. It will do this. It's a slow process. It may take a couple of years, but the pain may go down rapidly. I had instances when pain was out in 3 weeks and healing continued. I have instances where pain was away in 10 minutes after they drink the first glass of plasma. But also I have instances where pain was persistent for more than a year and very bad. And the reason was emotion. Because we have to understand that once when you have a pain caused by emotional issue, this tissue is already affected, is in bad shape. And even though you hydrate, if you have the same thought, every thought has different frequency, every part of the body has different frequency. If your thought is very close in vibration to any part of your body, it is going to be affecting that part of the body. And part of the effect is going to be poor hydration and cause of the pain. And if you don't take care of the emotion, if you keep bringing it back, and by bringing it back, it means not making peace with yourself. Saying, oh, you have no idea what they did to me, I can never forgive. Well, if you can never forgive, then you perpetuate the same emotion, you keep recreating it. So you keep cleansing and recreating, and pain continues. So this has to be dealt with. In general, if it's not emotion involved, and if it is wear and tear through dehydration and toxicity, self-healing protocol is going to take care of it, and fairly rapidly. By rapidly, I mean within half a year. But if you keep bringing the same emotion, karma, wheel rolling, coming back and back, well, then you will be stuck in this until you deal with your emotional problem. And lower back pain can be purely emotional, as it was with me. It was not my emotion. It was what I absorbed, but I did not release because I'm crazy and I don't take time off and smell the roses. I basically trying to help all the time, and excuses. And we all do the same crap. We always find excuses, right? So, if you suffer from lower back pain, I recommend do the self-healers protocol. You can do it on your own, or if you want faster result, I recommend you to be guided. And then, if the pain lingers, if it keeps coming back, or just does not go away, well, there is emotion behind it. And this is more difficult area we have to deal with, because very often we are not even aware of the emotion. I'm not aware how much toxic emotion I have within my aura, because we are like a tape deck. In a quantum field, we are pure electromagnetic energy. And we know that when two magnets approach, they repel or attract, but there is definitely action between them. So when two people, or even when we approach animals or plants, we go into that auric field, we bring our auric field, energy are working in between themselves. And like a tape deck, we record this. And then this recording that is there, if it is toxic to us, well, we have to get it out. We have to release it. We have to cleanse it out. And you cleanse emotions the same like you cleanse any other toxin in a body. Because remember, nothing is really the way we think things are. Atoms do not exist the way they are being portrayed. Electrons do not exist the way the physics teaches us. Those are just electromagnetic fields. And they have influence one on another. When you have electromagnetic field and you have something sliding through it, well, it leaves the imprint of it. A good dowser that is very sensitive, or very good, very sensitive electronic equipment, can douse movement. For example, a dowser friend of mine, he's a really excellent dowser, lives in St. Martin, and we were a group of people and experimenting with frequencies, and he said, okay, here is my watch. He put it on a table, and said, I'm going to go out of the room, and one of you should take it and hide it. And when I come in, I'm going to douse where is my watch. So he went out, and one guy took it and gave it to another guy, and he put it in his pocket. And when Dowser came back, he started dowsing and started smiling right away. He says, you took it, and pointed to the right individual, and says, but you don't have it. You gave it to him, and he has it. He didn't say exactly where, but said, he has it. It's on him. And exactly this is what happened. Because the imprint is there. When you are recording on tape deck, you are recording your voice. When I'm recording now this, well, you heard the beeping of the truck over there, you hear the birds, you hear the rooster, because every energy that goes through it gets recorded. And it stays there. You can play it back and play it back until you eliminate it. You have to erase it. You have to acid wash it. This is why liver produces acids to really acid wash this stuff. And then you have this yellow burning diarrhea that burns your bum. Okay? Body, we are just imitating our biology, our body. If we should even call it biology, because it's pure physics. So, if you have a lower back pain, follow the cellular protocol, which will teach you how to eat correctly, how to hydrate, so your body can actually hydrate and cleanse. And if it is basically a problem of dehydration, pain is going to go away. If it's emotionally related as well, then you may need to work on your emotions. And there's many different ways you can do it. One of the easiest one is to keep your mind occupied with something that you love to do. Because when you do that, you cannot focus on any negative emotion whatsoever. And remember that when you take plasma for hydration, plasma is minerals. Minerals are all properly tuned. So you bring them in the body, and they are going to start correcting the frequency in your auric field, in your body, on every level. And this is going to end up with the release of these toxins. Now they have to go into your blood to be cleansed out. And you may cleanse them through mucosal tissue. You may start crying for no reason. You may start getting gas and burping and putting it out, farting. You may start having liver problems. Okay, pain for stomach, pain for liver, jointness, turn yellow, having yellow urine. This is all part of emotional cleanse, not necessarily problematic with cirrhotic liver or whatever. Happened to me. My liver is perfectly fine, but I had strong emotional detox, and I turned yellow like a canary. A year later, I didn't turn yellow. The toxins basically embedded themselves in my right leg and caused inflammation and painful muscle. And yeah, I was cleansing this yellow acids out rapidly through diarrhea. I just drink a lot of plasma. Through drinking plasma and urinating on both ends every hour, 1 hour. And flashing, and pain started coming down relatively fast. Within a week, it was getting down. Once when I started this flash. So, this is basically what happens with our back pain. I am not saying that we should not take painkillers. If it is really bad, you can take painkiller, but you have to understand that painkiller is just suppressing the pain, but the cause, why all this is happening, this is not being addressed. So you can take painkiller, but you have to do your hydration. While you are poisoned by painkiller, you will not do hydration on a cellular level, but you will be cleansing the blood. And by eliminating these toxins, you are preventing this toxic stuff to be redeposited in the muscle because it cannot be cleansed. So you are still cleansing your blood. And then don't take the analgesic if you are not in strong pain. Tolerate the pain. Of course, when I could not sleep, I tried to take analgesic, but it didn't even work. So I said, hell with it. I just drop it and just drink a huge amount of plasma. It's loading, so I had to flush, and this worked. Again, it's good to be guided. And if you have a bad issue with the lower back, you can schedule a consultation and allow me to guide you. Or on my site, people keep asking me, oh, how do we get in touch with you? At the end of every video, it's a link to my site and all the information is there. Okay, my friends? So it's not about suppressing the pain. It is about cleansing and eliminating the culprit. Being it a physical toxin, chemical toxin, or dehydration, or emotional toxin. Toxins are nothing more than out-of-tune frequencies. Everything is based on frequencies. Even the so-called chemical stuff. It's just our manifestation of particular frequencies. So ultimately, we still go back down to frequency. And this we have to understand. It's always physics, it's never chemistry. And we are being duped by this chemistry in school. This is why we cannot fix anything. Okay, my friends. God bless us all. Love you and namaste.